YouTube recording. For you, you can go back and replay the YouTube, see what is taught. If in case you have not taken notes, you can take notes from there and practice also. Okay, this is available on my YouTube channel, which is Sivakumar Rajagopalan or Vedic Sampradaya. If you do search on YouTube channel, you can subscribe and pin it also as your channel. So you'll get notifications. You can go there and replay all old videos. Okay. So we are talking of Vedam, which is, as we know today, it is four Vedas. Uh, Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, and Atharva Veda. All the Rigs are primarily from the sources Rig Veda. That's a core body of content that were there in Rig Veda. In Sama Veda, the same Rigs were taken and given a different notation. Additionally, there are about 80 to 85 Rigs that were added by Samaveda as new. So you will see a lot of source from Rig Veda in Samaveda. And there will be Samaveda specific, which are chanted only in Samaveda. Same thing was done by Yajurveda. They picked up a whole lot from Rig. They also added something of their own. As and when we come to it, wherever there is a clear difference that impacts you, I will explain. You can take a note. But fundamentally, and Atharva Veda has got plenty, but predominantly Atharva Veda is known for all the aspects related to medicine. Sama Veda is the foundation for anything which is Sangeetam. So in Rig Veda, the swaras are different. For example, when the first line that any Rigvedi learns, Veda Abhyasa, when it happens, the Rigvedis always will start with Agnimihile Purohitam Yajnasya Devamritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. You see how I'm saying? Ratnadhatamam. This is the Rigvedic Swara. The same Rig, if it is a Yajurvedi, will say it Agnimihile Purohitam Devasya Yajnamritvijam Hotaram Ratnadhatamam. They will say it Ratnadhatamam. They won't say Ratnadhatamam. Those are the differences. So by the style of chanting itself, you will know this is Yajurvedam, this is Rigvedam. Yajurvedis will start with Vedabhyasam. Typically, what I taught you the first day. Vishetvo, Jayatva, Vajavasto, Pajavasto, Devo, Savita, Prapte, Shreshtatva, Karmane. Same way, Samavedis will say Agna Ayahi Vitaye, Granano Havyadataye. Simple. This is how Yajurvedis will chant that first line of Samaveda. Agna Ayahi Vitaye, Granano Havyadataye, Nihota Shatsibarhisi. Whereas if a Samavedi has to chant the same thing, it will take 2 minutes. Ognai Ayahi. The Agna Ayahi itself will get dragged that long. In Yajurveda, there is a swara called Udata, which is the baseline. So if you see the script, there won't be any mark for that akshara. Swaras are for each akshara. So there won't be any notation. That means it is Udata, baseline. Then you will see underline in certain aksharas. They are called Anudata. So the easy way to remember is underline is UN. Anu is also having U and N aksharas. Easiest way to remember. So there will be an underline. That means it goes to bass level. Na mo. Na udata. Mo. Anudata. The next swara is Swarita, which is a vertical line on top of the akshara. Bhagavate. Te. I'm giving a hit. Bhagavate. Rudhaya. Dra is again Anudata. Ruya is Udata. Bhagavate. Swarita. Rudraya. Clear? Same way. Mrityave. Mrityave. Mru Anudata. Tya. Ve. Again Anudata. Swaha. That ha, it is Swarita but Dirgam. Dirgam means extended or long. Achyut, are you able to follow what I'm saying?
Yes, Mama.
Okay, you can stop. Any one of you, please stop. If anything is going on top of your head, if I'm going too fast, we can repeat it as many times as you want, because this has to be in your system as your second nature before you can learn advanced stuff, right? So Mritya Ve, Mr Anudata, Ve Anudata, Swaha. That is Dirga Swarita. There is a Swarita, but it is extended. So it will be shown as double line on top. So do not confuse Dirga Swarita, which is a Swara, with Dirga Akshara. For example, in this Trembaka Mijama itself, Mritya Ve Swaha, Mritya Ve Swaha. So the first time it is Swaha. Ha is Dirgam, but with a Swarita. Swaha. But the same thing when it repeats again, it is Mritya Ve Swaha. The second time it is Dirga Swarita. So you will see the difference. Mritya Ve, the notations will be the same. Swaha, it will be Swa will be Udata, no notation. Ha will be a vertical line one first time, which is one Swarita. Second time it will be two vertical lines, which means it is Dirga Swarita. Right? So fundamentally, you can keep on extending in adding more swaras to the Yajurvedam, but it's one of the most simplest set of swaras that you can ask for. Udata, Anudata, Swarita, Dirga Swarita. So Dirgam means long, Plutam means short. So when we talk of long, short, what we are talking about is a concept called matra. Matra. Matra means you cannot say matra is 1 second. Matra is a time taken per unit. So each letter is called akshara. Mru, ga, na, na. These are all aksharas. How much time you will spend for chanting that letter is called a matra. One matra is either a blink of an eye once or one snap of a finger. Now you will say, why can't you say how much time? Because I can chant snap fast or I can take my own time and snap slow. I can blink like this fast or I can take my own time to blink my eye. It is still one blink. Achyut, are you able to follow what I'm saying?
Yes, Mama, but I have a question.
Sure.
Remember you said about Udata and Anudata, what the high note, will they put it like next to the swara akshara to go high? Like where will they put the line?
The notation will be exactly above the akshara or below the akshara.
Okay.
The only complication that both you and Advik will have to put up with is you will be depending on English, if I'm not mistaken. If you do that, dhi, for example, akshara dhi will be D, H, E, E. 4 letters are there. So to understand the concept of matra is a little difficult. 4 letters should be, how can it be 2 matras? So for that, you'll have to just depend on whatever I'm teaching in every class. Over a period of time, you will understand, oh, di means 2 matra. Are you getting what I'm saying? Likewise, the same challenge you will also face in swara. I don't know whether the script is giving an underline under all the 4 letters or it will just give you under 2 letters. I have to see it. But you will know that D is the one that has got Anudata or Swarita. The swaras are always for the Akshara. So if you take Hindi or Devanagari script, it will be exactly on top of that Akshara or below that Akshara.
Okay.
I don't know about Telugu or Kannada. In Tamil also, if I write Kai or Pai, it has got two sort of line, two sort of symbols. Kai is a combination of two. So I don't think it draws a underline under both to say that it is one letter, so it is under both. You have to be a little careful there.
Okay.
So there you depend on whatever I'm verbally teaching you here. Go back, replay, keep listening. That way you will pick it up very fast. Initially, it will be a bit challenging. But anytime you have a doubt, unmute like this, stop me and ask questions. Don't wait for the end of the class and say, I had a lot of questions, now I forgot. Whenever you have a question, you stop me.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So again, matra concept is something which you have to spend a lot of time to understand it, because without that concept, your chanting will go nowhere. The chanting will go nowhere. And it will come only through practice. It will come only through listening. It will come only through, play the audio, you chant, see whether you're doing it right. Play the audio, you chant. Play the audio, you repeat. Then you play the audio and you chant along with the audio. You will know if you finish faster and the audio is still going, that means you're rushing too fast. If you are chanting and the audio is already done, that means you are going too slow. So that is one way of calibrating. Or if you have somebody who's knowledgeable at home, you can chant and they can correct in front of you. Or you can send your audio recording to me and I can give you feedback. Those are the multiple ways by which we operate. Anytime after post-COVID, if you all are able to come on site, that will be best, because nothing like learning in front of each other. You can hear me right without all the technology issues, time lag issues, audio problems, etc. Because these are very, very fundamental to the entire Vedas that we're talking about. Then you will have a single vertical line which will determine the end of something, or a double vertical line. A double vertical line means the end of the rik. In shlokas, we say that is the end of a shloka. Double vertical line. Single vertical line means it is first half of the shloka. So here also you will have, if you say, for example, learn Purusha Suktam, there will be numbers after some riks. A rik is one full sentence. The end of that, you'll see numbers. Sometimes you'll see rik with one vertical bar and then another rik with two vertical bars and a number followed by that. That means that is a full rik. We'll get to something called upacharams and shodashopacharams, etc. That time, this numbers, this double lines make a lot of importance. So you have to pay attention to those things also. So you heard about Sapta Swaras in Samaveda. We don't need to learn that. You heard different Swaras in Rig Vedas. We don't need to learn that. In Yajur Veda, we have got Udata, Anudata, Swarita, Dirgha Swarita. So you're only going to learn 4. The matra concept you learned in terms of a blink of an eye or a snap of a finger. Or if you feel, you can tap your feet if you're sitting on the floor. If that is convenient, you can do whatever is convenient to you. But you have to be consistent. So what is the difference between a blink of an eye slow and a blink of an eye fast? Yeah, go ahead.
Can I go?
Yeah.
A blink of an eye slow would be like, and a blink of an eye fast would be like this. So if you're trying to go at the speed of a blink of, if you're trying to go at a speed of a slow blink of an eye, it'll go at this speed. If you're trying to go at a speed of a fast blink of eye, it'll go like this.
Correct. The difference between the two is called the tempo, layam, or the tempo. That is why I said you can't say 1 matra equal to 1 second. Second is a different unit of measure. Here, when we talk of matra concept, it is about a is a vowel, right? I, u is a vowel. A is 1 matra. Which is dirgham, is 2 matras. I, u, u. So the ratio of the time that you spend for chanting and the ratio of time you spend for chanting will be 1:2. So when you come to something like Om Namo Na 1, Mo 2. So Namo. Whereas if you just say Nama, you will say Nama, Nama, both 1:1. Namo 1:2, right? Sarvam Va to im 1, that bindu or the dot or im m 1. So it will be actually 3 there. Va 2 plus m 1. Sa 1 ir 1. Sarvam. That ratio will never change. So you can say Sarvam like a very slow motion chanting, or Sarvam. Those are two different tempos, but the ratio between Sa, Ir, Va, it doesn't change ever. So imagine it like an accordion or something, where you keep it open, it takes a longer space, but if you compress it, it is looking thinner, but the relationship between the slats don't change. They're fixed. Am I clear? Yeah, cool. So I will give you access to the document itself, which is there on the shared drive. But until then,
Anna, could you give me an example for 3 aksharas?
Irvam, Lakshmim, Me, Im. Me is 2, Im is 1. Lakshmim, Jata Vedo, Ma'avaha. You learned just now, right, in Sri Suktam? Did you get that?
Yes, Mama.
Okay. Any other question? So, what are the other things that are required for good chanting? Akshara Shuddha. So, when we talk of Akshara, regardless of whether you're Tamil, Telugu, or Kannada, or Bengali, or Marathi, it doesn't matter. Or whether you're born in the US, born in the UK, it doesn't matter. The Akshara Shuddhi, or the pronunciation of each Akshara, has to be as per the rules laid down in Sanskrit. Though Grantham is a language that is normally used, which is supposed to be even more accurate for Vedam than Sanskrit. Right now, people have settled down for Sanskrit, except for Vaidigas who learn everything in Grantham. Grantham is a different language script, but they are all part of the Brahmi script. Okay, I don't want to go into that detail. It will be enough for you to know Sanskrit. In fact, we have compromised it a little bit to the extent of there was a Vedic Sanskrit and there is a Sanskrit that we are all colloquially using. There's also a difference in that. Things have been made simpler and easier for everybody to learn, so that more and more people learn rather than having less people to learn this. In that, Sanskrit is one of the language which is considered the most perfect language, to an extent that any computerization, if somebody wants to do it, they believe Sanskrit is the base language that can be used for a binary type of approach. Because for every akshara, and I will share that document also with you, they have defined how you have to pronounce that akshara. There is categorization of aksharas, that these have to be chanted from the throat, these have to be chanted from the navel belly button or the nabhi, or these have to be done by closing the lip. This you have to push the tongue to the upper palate, and so on and so forth. I don't think you would have seen that in other languages. So Sanskrit, they have paid attention to that level of detail. The expectation is you reproduce what everybody is taught, so that you are consistent with other people. So if I say ksha and somebody else says sha, they won't sound the same thing. The reason for this importance is Vedam consists of aksharas, and the combination of the words and what is constituting a Veda generates a certain set of frequencies in a certain pattern, in a combination. So for people like Achyut and Advik, if you don't know the power of sound waves, vibrations, what it can do, it can actually bring down a building. Don't underestimate it. Sound waves are as powerful and as destructive like sea waves, because it's a very powerful form of energy. So when I'm saying something, you're hearing it. The science behind it is I'm rattling the air around me in a particular frequency, and that frequency reaches your ears and you hear what I'm saying. So if I stand by your side and start screaming in high frequency, can you ignore it? You'll naturally do this because you can't bear it. That is number one. Second, Human beings can only see certain frequency of light, and that way they can also hear only certain frequency of sound. When we say frequency, it is very important to understand the difference between frequency and amplitude. For example, Rudra, Dra, it's a low frequency, but I'm chanting at a higher volume. Okay? I can be very loud, but my frequency is low. The lower frequency Dra, I can do it with lower volume also. For example, Dra, Dra. Low frequency, low volume. Dra, low frequency, high volume. High frequency, Bhagavate, Bhagavate, Te. Frequency is high, volume is also high. Bhagavate, low volume, but I'm hitting the high frequency. Te. Advik and Achyut, particularly both of you, are you getting this base concept right?
Yes, Mama.
So do not get confused with frequency. When I say drop the this thing to bass, it is Rudra. If you want a little bit more, there are muscles here in your area, this area, you have to tone it. There are different muscles used for different frequencies. The way it's like a violin string. Okay? And you have to practice it. If you need help, we can also do that. Anil, are you able to follow whatever I'm saying so far?
Yes, Anna, yeah.
Yeah, don't get demotivated if I keep asking Achyut and Advik, because they have a bigger challenge than you, because you have the Indian background. Yeah, go ahead, Achyut.
So high volume is like how high you go, and low frequency is like the frequency is the distance between the sound wave, right?
Correct. Fantastic.
Oh, so and the height of the sound wave is like the volume, right? So
Correct.
So the volume, if it's low, it'll be like it'll have a it'll the sound waves height will be very low.
Perfect. Brilliant. Brilliant. I've taught so many batches. You're the first guy, I don't want to call you a kid, that has gone into a specific answer. Very impressed. Go ahead.
So and so it can have a low frequency and a high volume. So like some note can have a low frequency and a high volume, right?
Correct. In technical terms, volume is determined by amplitude, the height of the curve from the axis, right? So what it means is, when people say that don't scream, right, or don't yell. When you yell means you're talking at a very high volume. That means the graph is that big up and down. It means area under the curve is the energy that you spend to produce that sound. If you take the area under the curve, that is the energy you spend to produce that sound. So imagine if your graph is going to be big like this, like mountains, you're going to get tired very fast.
Okay.
You can say, you know what, I'm a high energy person, I can withstand that. The question is, when you start hitting the high notes with a high volume, it exceeds the human bearable limit.
Oh.
There's only so much you can hear that they. After some time, you'll say enough. The person doing it may be great, but the person hearing also should have the energy to hear that.
Mama, shouldn't the volume of like your voice not matter as much as like the actual Saritas, Anudatas, and Udatas?
Yeah, what we are talking about, Advik, is the frequency and the volume. So the
What
best
I mean
way,
is, like,
the best way to, yeah, go ahead.
what I mean is like doesn't the volume not matter as much as the frequency?
Volume will matter to a certain extent, because you don't want people mumbling, right? You don't want somebody to chant like this. Oh no, Rudraya, Vaste Rudramanya, Teshavay Namaha. Doesn't sound good. So that brings us to the next concept of Shruti. You always chant at a nice pitch. For example, Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. I have to keep hitting that pitch constantly. You don't want somebody screaming like Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Sounds horrible. You may be technically even hitting those right frequencies. The ratio, matra, everything is correct, but this is not something that you want to hear. At the same time, you don't want somebody saying Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, Namaste Rudramanyo, Doseshave Namaha. It doesn't sound good. Always there is a baseline Shruti. You will see experienced people starting off in a nice Shruti. They won't be very high. They won't be keeping it very low. It'll be nice and balanced. And you just have to get used to that pitch. Right? So we talked about Shruti. We talked about swaras, that is frequencies. We talked about amplitude in terms of volume. We talked about akshara shuddhi, which means if I have ksha, you see how I'm saying it, ksha, akshara. It cannot be said as aksara. And you can't say in my language only sa is there is no sha. No, you have to reproduce the sound in whatever form and shape. You read through English and reproduce the sound, or read through Kannada or Tamil and reproduce the sound, doesn't matter. The sound has to be exactly the same. So akshara, matra, swara, shruti, layam. After all these things, it has to be consistency. You can't start with one layam and suddenly change gears and suddenly slow down, suddenly increase, suddenly scream. It has to be like fixed to the extent of being a little monotonous in terms of the pattern. Last but not the least, do not believe Vedam learning or chanting is a 10-minute affair or a 1 hour affair or 2 hour affair. When you sit down to chant, you are doing one of the most important job, that is your duty. That call of duty could be for 1 hour chanting, it could be for 6 hours chanting, it could be for 12 days of chanting. There are different structures of paranams. As you learn more and more, the expectations will be more. So you have to be mentally so focused in doing all of these things right, have the patience, and above all the temperament. You can't say after 1 hour, I'm getting restless, I can't sit, I can't focus. No, all of those things are important in chanting. Only then the quality of chanting will be pure, consistent. So even if you start at 6 o'clock in the morning, because if there is Ekadash Rudrabhishekam, people will start at 6 a.m. Sometimes if you participate in Mahaganapati Homam in certain parts of India, they ensure that Mahaganapati Homam is already done before sunrise. So you can't say, I got up in the morning at 4 a.m., I'm feeling sleepy, so my Vedam is not okay. Around 10 a.m. after I have my coffee, it will be better. After lunch, I'll go to sleep. And again, evening, I have to play. You cannot give any excuse. Once you sit there, they will expect the same thing for their entire duration. The moment you feel you're not ready, stop chanting, get up and go. But again, remember, Vedam is Mata, Veda Mata. You don't insult your mother, you don't kick your mother, you don't drop her halfway and run. She is there to protect you as long as you respect her. Correct? So this brings us to another important aspect. Attire is very important. There is a reason why we have the attire the way we do it. A, because of the tropical conditions in India, but also because stuff like what we have on our head, hair, etc. These are all not the purest and the hygienic stuff. So we ensure that you don't drop hair, you don't throw trash around you. The environment has to be as clean as possible. Your parts of the body has to be as clean as possible. The stuff that you keep using for chanting Vedam Puja, everything has to be as clean as possible. So I'll teach all of those things as we go forward. But purity is something that should be in your mind. So you don't sit in a chair like this and chant Vedam. You get it? This is not like a movie song or any other song. Vedam has got the highest status because even compared to shlokas and other things, this has got a higher status because as much as it can deliver what is expected out of a Vedic chanting, it can also cause severe destruction if you don't do it right. Example. Since Achyut, you are technically so sound, I'm going into slightly scientific detail. Have you heard of a term called octaves?
Yes.
Yeah. Octaves means the same Shruti, you can take it in a lower octave, medium octave, or higher octave. Likewise, if you have frequency waves like this, right? If there is one wave going like this, and at the same time I reproduce one more wave very similar in matching, the net result of what the people will hear is the double of that wave. Are you getting what I'm saying? Even if there is a slight shift between the waves, if you see the wave as a graph, if you see the waves slightly offset with each other, it will travel parallel. The moment it is matching, exactly matching with each other, it will double up. Have you heard of that creaking sound in any audio concert or anything? Suddenly you hear the mic sounding.
Yeah, I have.
Yes, that is because of that resonance. That resonance is caused by something else, but you have to understand the concept of resonance, which means though the individual person, you and Advik and Neil, uncle, all of you did right in your own way, if it all matches into that particular waveform, it can cause a loud noise that can destruct things around you. So there have been tests conducted with a champagne flute, glass flutes kept on a table in an empty room. Nothing else is there. Vedic chants have been propagated in that room through speakers. After a while, you can see the glass flute breaking into smallest of the pieces that you can think of in a destructive way. So that's a power of sound waves.
I so the like if you produce one sound wave and then you produce another, it can cause like a lot of.
All you need to know is if you don't chant it the way you're supposed to chant in the right pattern that you have received it, you can cause destruction. So there is to be a lot of element of seriousness in chanting it.
Okay, Mama.
Right? While learning, you're allowed to make mistakes because you are learning. But when we all say we have learned Vedam and somebody invites 11 people or 20 people to say all of you come and chant at my house, you have to be very responsible in making sure that you chant it the right way. So perfection is important, not about I. How can you correct me? What I'm saying is right. No. What people have said and what is the expectation, you have to adhere to it no matter today, no matter after 30 years, with all humility. Because the consequence of doing something wrong is far more serious than correcting ourselves. Got it? So people will ask, what is the purpose of doing all these mantrams that I don't even understand? There are things, as I said, you can see. It doesn't mean that there are light waves and frequencies that don't exist. Similarly, there are sound waves that you humans can hear, but there are sound waves that your dog or owls can hear differently. Their range is different. So there are sound waves that exist around you, but you don't recognize because your system is not developed for that. Correct? Likewise, there are energies, positive energies, negative energies. If you're living in a planet Earth and you're part of a solar system that is part of the galaxy, that's part of the universe, there are lots and lots of moving objects, lots and lots of gravitational pull, so many things happening around you that you don't even understand. You don't feel it. Do you believe that right now you're more rotating around an axis and you're also revolving? You will not feel it because you're part of that whole thing. You and I are all moving in the same way. So we all, relatively to each other, we all look, we are stationary, but we are moving. And all of these things, you can understand if somebody holds you by hand and starts swinging you round and round, you get dizzy, right? So there are influences of all these movements, which we call as doshams. The impact of all this gravitational pull, magnetic pull, it causes how your mind will function, your mental stability, mental peace of mind, balance, everything. Likewise, there are other external forces, negative forces, that keep targeting the planet Earth, our human civilization. There are other actions by human beings that cause disruption of the atmosphere. I don't want to go into climate warming and so on and so forth. There are several things that we do keep doing as human beings in our own interest that disturbs the nature. Hence, it is prescribed by chanting all of these mantras, the Vedas, etc. You start neutralizing the negative effect of all those energies. So, your aim is to create a positive energy which is well predefined mathematically to produce a certain level of energy level around you to neutralize those negative forces. In a way, you are protecting yourself, you're protecting people around you, you're protecting people in your community, in your city, state, and country, and so on. Got it? It also purifies your internal system. So, like if I say, ha, you see how I'm pressing my nabi to produce that sound. Ha, it purifies your upper respiratory system also because the vibration just doesn't have the effect outside, it also has the effect inside your body. So, these are serious stuff, serious business. To the extent, if you want to know what level of seriousness people have attributed to this learning, what I'm teaching you is the most shortcut method of teaching, or what you're learning is the shortest method of learning. If you go to a Patashala and if you want to be a Vaidiga or a Vadya, they learn Vedam for minimum 16 years. And Rudram, Chamakam, these are all only small part of Vedam. Whatever they learn, when they say I'm a Yajurvedi, means you have done Yajurvedam study. Everything of what you study, you have to be able to chant it in the style of Om Ganana Am Twa Ganapatigam Avamahe Kavim Kavinam Upamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anashunman Devasi the Sadhanam. This is called Padam, Samhitam. You just keep on going, reading the sentences or the riks. Then there is Kramam. Kramam means if you say Om Gananam Twa A B C, you will say A B B A B C C B. Om Gananam Om Ganana Am Twa Tvam Ganana Am. You keep doing A B B A B A B C C B constantly. You must be in a position to chant that without mistake. Once you graduate to that level, they will do the highest level. There are 8 such methods. 8 such methods of chanting each of the thing that you learn. The highest one is called Ghanam. In that, it will be A, B, B, C, C, A, B, C, C, A, A, B, C, B, B, C, A, E. It will be very complex. So, even in that form, you have to be chanting it with accuracy. When you are capable of delivering Vedam at that level, you are called Ghana particle. Ghana particle means it's a degree that is given to you that you are at that level of chanting. It doesn't stop there. Each akshara, like Ga, has got 6 attributes. So there are Salakshana Gana particles. Salakshana means the people who can explore and chant at that level of detail, where each akshara they will elaborate to the level of 6 attributes and complete the Veda. They can do the entire Vedam by heart memory at that level. They are called Salakshana Gana particle. It is like postdoc. So why would somebody put in such a stringent method of teaching or learning? It is because they don't want somebody to say, no, you said Gayatri and I am saying Gayatri. They don't want these differences to come and say one person says this is correct, the other person says that is correct. Do you understand? So you don't need to worry about the terminologies I used as much as if you understand this is serious business and nobody will advise you and you will get influenced to say it's okay if you make a couple of mistakes. No, not in Veda. You can do in anything else. You play basketball, if you're not the best of the shooter, it is okay to be a little average. But this, if you don't do well, if you don't do the right thing, you can cause serious harm. Also, in the old form of system, which people have misrepresented today, the caste system, Brahmins were given the task of preserving the Vedas, learning, by practicing, It is because they were told, forget about everything. You don't have to worry about getting money, food, etc. Somebody else will provide you, but it is your job to keep this intact. That is how the caste system was formed. So obviously, if you say that I am a Vedic knowledgeable person, you will find hundreds of people that cannot even chant Veda. Either they may not have had the opportunity to learn it, or they even if they are taught, they can't do it, they will struggle. So please understand, you are a blessed soul to be even having an opportunity to learn Veda. So what happens, the reverse is true. Even if you are a kid, if you are a Vedic learned person, if you chant Vedam, an adult also can do namaskaram to you. So the namaskaram is not to you as Achyut or Advik for you as a kid. It is because of the knowledge that you have got, your capability. That's it. So please get used to that role. If you go to some place where you are chanting Vedam, people will fall at your feet and ask for your blessings as a Vedic scholar. So it shouldn't go into your head, oh, so many people are falling at my feet. It is not for you, it is for the Vedamata. Clear? So when people have such faith, trust, respect for you, you cannot do any shortcut stuff and deliver bad quality output. Immense amount of responsibility. People will even give you dakshina, which is money. You earn money for it. That's the amount of value and respect you are going to get once you do a proper job. Our aim is not to earn money through Vedam, but to do that service. So when you chant at home privately to yourself, you are purifying your body surrounding around you. When you're chanting with people in your home, you organize a paranam, you're purifying your home. When you chant outside as a group, you're purifying the community. When you want to keep the atmosphere pure for the entire region, state, North America, etc., there are different levels of Rudrams and other events that are being organized. The smallest one is Ekavara Rudram, which is one chanting of Rudram once. Eka Dashavaram is 11 times by 11 people. That is 121 times. Likewise, it goes to Maharudram. You can go to Atirudram. Atirudram is like 121 people chanting for 11 days, 11 times. Because you need to create that power of sound waves or energy to achieve a wider scale purification. Are we clear so far? It's a lot of stuff, but they are all on YouTube. You can replay, rewind, and learn all these things. It might be a little boring, but I don't think I'm going to revisit this again. That's why I want to spend enough time to understand what you're getting into. It's a long haul. It doesn't stop. I was surprised when somebody said, I put my son for Vedam and I convinced him that you have to learn only Rudram and Chamakam and you're done. After getting in, parents were shocked because they're also part of the scripting team now. I dumped probably about 10 gigabytes of just source files. But the beauty is, Achid, he's also a kid like you, maybe slightly older to you. He wants to come every week and attend the class, learn. That's the level of interest he has got. So you will enjoy the ride. It looks very tough, difficult, but once you start enjoying it, it will be fun. You're learning something for life. I learned Vedam at the age of 13. Okay, so today I'm 58. So almost 45 years. I'm still excited if somebody calls me to chant Vedam. As excited as I was on the first day. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we are going to learn Yajurvedam. It is also, in Yajurvedam also you need to understand there are two styles. One is called Krishna Yajurvedam, which is what you practice in southern part of India. There is Shukla Yajurvedam, which is practiced in northern part of India. Just to give you a demonstration, Bhadram Karne Bishruniyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha. Krishna Yajurveda. Same thing, if a Shukla Yajurvedi chants it, he will chant it like this. Bhadram Bakshe Makshabhiryajatra Thirairangai Sushtuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vriddashravaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha. It doesn't mean they are chanting wrong. That is their style of Veda. That is why I say, don't ever utter or judge somebody else chanting, because if you don't know, maybe they are doing it right and you have not learned it, right? So far, so good. We will start from Gananantwa. I will give you the script. Try to be familiar with the script if possible before the class. That way, when I start teaching it, you will be familiar with it instead of just hearing those letters and words for the first time. Any question, Neil, from you or Achyut or Advik? I hope you're not gone to sleep.
I'm awake, Mama.
And don't take offense to when I say that, because I know it's not easy. On a weekend, you want to relax, and your dad and mom and me, we start putting you in front of a YouTube and start giving you this so much of technical information which makes no difference to your life. You will not value this today, but once as you grow older, when you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, you will enjoy that. And Achyut, I'm again saying that go and tell your parents. I'm particularly impressed with your answer. Brilliant. Yeah.
My dad was sitting right next to me.
Oh, so he's coaching you?
No. He's just sitting right next to me observing the class.
Ah, okay. Good. Very good. Any other question, or we can wrap up this class? We will start from Gananantwa and the next one.
Okay, thank you. It was very nice, and I wanted to learn this for a long time. Finally, it looks like I got an opportunity, so
Yeah.
I'm very happy. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it will be, talk of even the tough times that we are in, right?
Yes.
I teach Vedam, I teach Devi Mahatmyam, I'm going to be teaching more stuff in many other areas. The thing that keeps your mind cool and level-headed in these tough times is all the spiritual activity. There is no medicine, there's no other counseling or anything else that you can think of better than just chant. Go and sit down and isolate yourself, focus and chant. And Achyut and Advik, also, as you grow up, right, when you chant these mantras, it is supposed to bring tejas in your face. You will be sharper, your memory, your alertness, your IQ, everything improves. So there is a lot of inherent latent benefit that you'll get as you're growing. So please take it seriously and enjoy doing it. It should never be a stress. Oh no, my dad is asking me to practice, and there should never be a stress. So don't pressurize yourself. Don't get into competition, unwanted competition, which is avoidable. It's okay if you take 4 classes to learn and Advik learns it in 2 classes. There's no competition here. If there's a competition, it has to be healthy, which is, oh, Advik did it, so I can also do it. And you work hard to achieve it. That is good. And also, I recommend, regardless of age, when you all come to the class, there is no age discount. I'm not going to give you additional discount saying, Achyut, you are young, or Advik, you are young. Advik knows it already. Or Neil, you are busy or something. It will be a same level of treatment and opportunity for everybody. There is no big or small once you are in the class. And just because I'm saying things and you're listening doesn't mean that I'm the perfect, I'm the most knowledgeable. There are things that I can learn from you also. It's a two-way street, right? So feel free to correct. Feel free to see if I miss something and I'm saying something wrong. Feel free to stop me and correct it. This is what the script says. You are teaching me like this, so we can get clarifications done. All right. So great, nice. Having this class with both of you, all of you. I wish you all the best and have a nice weekend. And let's hope we start making progress.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Mama.
Bye.